and would probably be defeated by chlorinization of water supplies, it said. But as we know, the water supply has so many wacky and terrible things in it now, like low levels of mercury and Prozac and, of course, high levels of fluoride, that it seems they've perfected this over the last 60 to 70 years. The subcommittee recommended that research into humans and animal diseases continue. Scientists at Purebright found their cows were uncooperative with attempts to poison them with cattle feed cakes containing infections or ground glass dropped from the air. Observations showed the cattle are rather suspicious of any new type of food. However, the virulence of stored foot and mouth disease also tended to decline rapidly. It was discovered experiments on keeping the properties of the virus when filled into cakes were ordered. And it just so happens that Purebright was the government research station whose leakings drained into the 2007 triggered foot and mouth outbreak across Surrey. So again, that foot and mouth outbreak, where did it come from? It came from your loving government in the United Kingdom. All right, let's continue to go to your calls. Let's go to Kevin in Georgia. Kevin, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jason. I just wanted to comment on something you said about the video of the little girls, the 7- and 8-year-old girls dancing.
Yes.
YouTube did remove that video, but fortunately I've downloaded it before they did, so I can get that to you and you can elaborate that on later on the show. But 2 quick questions. One, the question is, what do you think about the new movie Machete? I know Alex has been very vocal about this the last week. And the second question is, have you ever heard of radio host Neil Bortz? He's based out of here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
On 7:50 a.m.
I know who Neil is. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Bortz and Alex Jones, I think that Alex confronted Neil back in 2003, or it was either 2003 or 2004 in New York City during the RNC. He found Bortz on the street and wanted to debate Bortz, and Bortz wanted something like $25,000 or $45,000. He's a neocon blowhard that, again, tells half or quarter truths and has his audience. What was that first question again, Kevin?
The first question was, what do you think about the new the
Machete movie. All right,
yeah,
well, Machete, let me say this. I'm a big fan of Robert Rodriguez's work. It's, you know, spaghetti western type stuff. I mean, you look at Desperado and Desperado 2, it's like watching Spider-Man in a mariachi outfit, basically. Some of the things that he does, killing 40, 50 people at a time. Now, Robert Rodriguez has also done a couple kids movies, Spy Kids and Spy Kids 3D, and I believe the last one was released back in 2003. So that means your 9, 10-year-old kids that watch these movies are now teenagers and young adults. And in the movies, an ancillary character is their uncle. Who is it? It's Machete Cortez. And, of course, Machete helps them throughout their adventures. He's one of the good guys. So it definitely, I'm not saying that they did it on purpose, but I am not for any kind of race war. I'm for border control, and I've got a couple border issue articles I'm going to get into very shortly out there. And I think that you look at this thing again, this is somebody who was a hero to children, kind of in the back of their minds, in their subconscious, a character that is a subconscious hero over the last decade or so, and now they're bringing them into that spaghetti western format where whites are the enemy. Of course I'm against that. Of course I'm against that. So I have not read the script, but I think it's very, very concerning that a child hero is now going to be in a slasher flick against whites. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. We're live at PrisonPlanet.tv and Infowars.com. All right, we're going to continue with your calls in just a moment. I want to hit up some tech news. Some quitting Facebook as privacy concerns escalate. Concerns over Facebook's new privacy policy and the online social network's recent efforts to spread its information across the web have led some on the site's faithful to delete their accounts, or at least try to, because it's so hard to find the delete forever button. And see, they hide everything in your account settings, in your privacy settings. They call it instant personalization. And what it is giving your IP address and what you do on that IP address, aka your computer, to every company under the sun willing to pay a small ransom. That's what it really is. It's unclear how many people have chosen to delete their Facebook accounts in recent week, but a spokeswoman for the company, Annie Ta, said that it had grown by more than 10 million active users since late April. Some Facebook users, including Sam Schreiber, say they are bothered by the fact that their online preferences are showing up all over the internet now instead of just Facebook.com. Because you see, when I sign into Facebook, I am not that savvy. I don't go in there. I could care less what people are profiling me as. I'm a pretty open book, folks, but other people may not be. And they may set their privacy settings the correct way, but because they're friends with me and they post on my page, their information is still shared on that level. Not what's going on their page, but when they're commenting on my page. So when I log on to Facebook, there's always, concerts here, or Bellator Fighting Championships is going to be here. It's always trying to sell me something that I may be interested in. Now, 3-4 times out of 10, it is something I want. And the other times it's like interracial dating or some kind of Johnny nonsense like Farmville, something I'm not going to get involved in. But they are honing that science. And let me read this. She was particularly concerned when one of her Facebook friends saw that the music site Pandora that she likes featured the band Newfound Glory. I was like, that's really creepy. I haven't logged in. I didn't give it permission. I didn't do anything. And that is the scare, that you are not only being tracked, traced, and databased, but also profiled by these multinational corporations that are indeed in bed with who? The National Security Agency. Agencies like that love people like Google. And let me read you this outlandish story. Google says mistakenly got wireless data. Oh, we were out shooting pictures, but somehow we mistakenly got wireless data from people in their homes. It sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? Wait a minute, you were taking pictures. How did you receive wireless data from people's routers? I don't understand that, Google. Can you clear that one up for me? Google Inc. said its fleet of cars responsible for photographing streets around the world have for several years, cars working for Google to take photographs. Remember photographs, folks? You click the button, a picture comes out. Or you click the button, it goes on film. Or you click the button, and it goes on a little SD card. Remember those? It has nothing to do with garnering wireless data, yet for 3 years, magically, they were accidentally taking your data off of your wireless router, off of your internet connection, and databasing that. Mistakenly. How do you mistakenly do something that is uninvolved with taking pictures? It's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. Let me read it to you again. Google Inc. said its fleet of cars responsible for photographing streets around the world, see, this isn't just a United States problem, it's around the world, have for several years, that's more than one or two, probably more than three, because then they would have said a few, so maybe 4 or 5 years they've been doing this. How lovely. For several years, accidentally, it was an accident, a little slap on the wrist, accidentally, have accidentally collected personal information. What kind of personal information? Well, a security expert said she could include email messages, passwords sent by consumers over wireless networks. The company said on Friday that it is currently reaching out to regulators in relevant countries, including where? The United States, Germany, France, Brazil, Hong Kong, and China, about how to dispose of the data which Google said it never used. Sure you didn't, Google. We're going to come back to Ed, Chris, John, Skip, Kylo, and more. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. So we're going to go back to your calls in a moment, but I want to just say again, the idea that Google was out around the world in these locations, let me read it again, United States, Germany, France, Brazil, Hong Kong, in China, and more, that they were taking pictures and somehow absorbing all the wireless data accidentally. We were accidentally taking all the wireless data for several years is ludicrous. There had to be some reason they were taking the data. They're also saying it's stored, but they've never used it. Oh, really? See, Google is another one of those third-party military-industrial complex corporations that acts as a proxy for the NSA, for the CIA, for the international intelligence apparatus run by the invisible empire I expose in my latest film, New World Order Defined. Go check it out yourself. The bottom line is a lot of personal content is definitely available in open Wi-Fi hotspots, said Steve Gibson, the president of Internet Security Services from firm Gibson Research Corp. He noted that most non-web-based email products based on POOP and IMAP standards do not encrypt login information or the messages people send, and he said that Google's own web email product, Gmail, has only in recent months encrypted the email messages that users send after their initial sign-on, which has been encrypted. Google's streetcar views are also well known for crisscrossing the globe and taking panoramic pictures of city streets, which the company displays in its online maps product. Collecting Wi-Fi data was unrelated to the Google Maps project. Really? Then why are we talking about it as though it was? Why are we talking about it as though it was an accident? And was done instead so that Google could collect data on Wi-Fi hotspots that can be used to provide separate location-based services. So in this is the admission that it was indeed not an accident, that they were doing it by design.